As a kid, I always grew up hearing this story about my dad's really fancy black Super Sport 69 El Camino. The story goes that my mom happened to be borrowing his car one day to go to work. For some reason, she had to borrow the El Camino to go to work, and she was very pregnant with me. She borrows the car and she ends up getting in a really bad accident. She totals it. She gets out of the car. Someone has to call my dad, they don't have a cell phone back then, and tell him that his wife and unborn child had been in a car accident. And the story I was always told was the first thing out of his mouth, he says, "Well, how's my car?" And
now remember, when I talked to the police officer, he said a non-injury accident. Okay, that was the first word out of his mouth.
So there was always this teasing that my mom would say, "Well, your daughter wouldn't even be alive if I was in my car. We would be dead." And so, it's like, "Oh, that El Camino saved your life." And he always says, "Oh, I'll never have another one of those cars again." And it'll be a dream. Maybe one day I'll get one. And Cliff and I were starting to create the Tolinas label. We were working with a friend of ours to do the label design, and he threw out some prices of how much this label was going to cost. I was like, "Whoa, that's not going to happen. We are not on the same page here." And he says, "Lisa, I know your parents and how much they have provided to our community of winemakers, and I'm a car guy, and I've always heard this story about this 69 El Camino your dad used to have." And I'm like, "How did you hear this story? Does everyone hear this story?" And he says, "Yeah, and I hear you wouldn't be alive if it wasn't for that car." And he says, "Well, here, I'll make you a deal." He says, "I want your dad to have that car. You buy him that car, and I'll take care of your label." So the Tolinas label was born, and Dad got his El Camino.